Hi, welcome back. My name is Joe. In my previous video, I took my M3 into a BMW main dealer for a regular service, but unfortunately when I picked the car up, I had a check engine light on. Obviously I didn't have it when I took the car in before, and I told them about it and they said that they are aware of the issue and they tried to clear it before they gave me the car back. But obviously when I started the car up, it still had the check engine light, and they've told me that there was an issue with the camshaft sensor, as you saw at the beginning of this video. But it was near the end of the day and I couldn't do much, or they couldn't do much because they were closing anyway. So we agreed that I'll go home that day and we'll see if it will clear itself. It didn't. So today's video, I want to show you guys what the problem was and how I went about fixing it. And at the end of this video, I also want to share with you guys on some upcoming news. Spoiler alert, it's actually some more bad news because I had some other issue popped up regarding this service. So stay tuned and subscribe if you haven't already, if you want to find out what that is. And so let's get into today's video. I tried clearing the error a couple of times just in case there's some sort of electrical gremlin. However, the error just kept coming back even though I would clear it and restart the car. By the way, I didn't want to take the car in at this stage to get them to look at it because I wanted to have a look myself just in case they have done any like obvious damage to the part itself. I didn't want to give them a chance to charge me for it if it's just a simple fix or if it's some kind of damage that they've done. So that's why I wanted to take a quick look myself before I take it any further. But first I had to do some research online because I wasn't sure where the camshaft sensor was and which side and all that stuff. So as it turns out, there are 4 sensors in total, 2 in and 2 out, split between the left side and right side. Luckily, the app actually tells me that it's on the bank 1 in my case, because if it was on bank 2, the other side, I had to remove the airbox and all that stuff. So in my case, it's on the bank number 1, so it's actually easier to access. Moving on, as mentioned, there are 4 sensors, 2 in and 2 out. Again, the app tells us, in my case, it's the outlet. I've indicated the outlet here in red. Therefore, we know the issues with this particular sensor. I've already planned for the worst case scenario and looked up the part number to see how much it would cost to replace it if there is an issue with it. And here's the part number if you need it in your case. And also you need a new O-ring, which is like a couple of bucks more. Anyway, we have to pop off this cover here to get access to the sensor or spark plug changes. It's actually simple, but sometimes the most simple tasks just take a lot of effort to do for some reason, because in this case, the cover's not like screwed in or anything. All you need to do is just pop it off, but it was like quite stuck in, so it was quite difficult to get it off. I tried to wiggle it out like for ages, like 10-20 minutes, but I just couldn't get my hands into that tight space, so it was quite difficult to pop it off. So what I did was I undid these 2 10mm socket bolts for the coolant reservoir. I can't talk today. The coolant reservoir, and just undid the 2 bolts there, which allows me to move the tank, lift it up slightly. You don't need to undo all the pipes or anything like that. It just gives you a bit more room to move about if you undo these 2 bolts here, and that's what I did. So I just lifted out slightly, which helps me to get a bit more easy access, as well as getting the cover out in a minute. Like I said, the cover is just snapped on, so there's no bolts or screws that you need to undo. All you have to do is just put it upwards with some force. You just have to like jiggle it about a little bit, and eventually it will just come out. But there's not a lot of room to get the cover up straight up to get it out, so it's best to take it out towards the front of the car, as I did here. But like I said, if you remove the tank slightly, it gives you a bit of room to pull the cover out towards the front of the car, which is just a little bit easier. Here you can see the 2 rubber thingy that holds the cover in place. Like I said, no bolts or screws, it just pops on when we put it back on later on. Now, at this point, I don't know if I should be happy or angry, because I'm pretty certain this is the case. This is the issue. As you can see, the cable's not plugged in. So I don't know if they've just plugged it in loosely and it fell out again or something, but whatever it is, it was disconnected when I took the cover off, and that's the reason why we have the check engine light. And but the strange thing is, they've told me that they've checked everything, they cleared the codes, and they said they've looked through everything and they couldn't find any issue, but clearly they're lying because we can see the cable is disconnected in this case. So that's the reason I wanted to check it out in the first place, because what if I took it in and they said the sensor was faulty or broken and it needed replacing, which is, you know, BS, obviously. Not saying that they will definitely do it, but there's a potential, so I wanted to take a look for myself. But luckily there is no damage, it's just a disconnected cable. So all I did was I've plugged it back in, I cleared the codes using the app, started the car up, and just make sure that the code didn't come back, because previously ASAP I started the car up, the error would come up. Obviously I highly recommend you do the test before you put all the bolts and the cover back on, so that's what I did. I cleared the codes and yeah, all is fine. And at this stage the reverse is just to pop the cover back on and put the reservoir tank back on and put the screws back on. Just do this thing in reverse, you know. This whole process, if it wasn't for the damn cover not coming off, probably would have taken like, I don't know, 15 minutes maybe max. But so yeah, just do the reverse on how we remove the cover, and voila, Bob's your uncle. Well, maybe your uncle's not called Bob, but anyway, you're all set and done. And I went on a road trip, so apologies for getting this video out later. That's partly the reason. But as soon as I set off with my road trip, I had a oil warning light come on, which is, again, a bit unusual because I only just did the service, and then within 100 miles or so, even less than that, I think it was under 100 miles, I had a warning light come up saying that I needed to top it up with a liter of oil. By the way, I don't recommend you topping up an entire liter when it tells you to. I usually just put in 500 ml and see what it says after it rechecks the oil level. But the strange thing is, I've just had an oil service. How can it so quickly ask me to add a liter of oil again? I've never had this issue before, and it was never a very heavy drinker, the car. So it's very strange that it would ask me to fill up with oil again so quickly. Again, a bit strange, but anyway, because I was just starting into my journey, I filled it up. I've always had a spare one in the trunk, boot, whatever you want to call it. Filled it in, which is a bit strange, but take note of it, because this is sort of the second issue that I had with it. One was the camshaft sensor that we've just fixed, and secondly with the oil issue that I'll mention to them later. But the third biggest issue that I've had is the differential in the back of the car, because I've noticed that it's making a lot of noise at the moment, and I've never, again, I didn't have this issue before I had the oil change. So this is the third issue that I have with this BMW dealer this time around. I've went on the full trip now. I've done, you know, a lot of turns, and definitely deliberately went on like full lock turns and things like that. And it's definitely still making a hell of a lot of noise out of the diff at the back. In fact, it sounds like a humpback whale is having sex at the back or something. It's just so loud. It does not sound good, and I just hope that it's they haven't like forgot to fill the oil back in or something, because they I guess they've drained it, and I'm just hoping that they filled it in with oil, because at the moment it just sounds like it's grinding something at the back, and it's really loud. So this is the third and final straw. That's the reason why I've booked the car in. I've told them all this issue. I am not confident at this stage to drive the car very far or give it a proper thrashing at this stage. So yeah, on that note, that's the end for this video. Thank you very much for watching as always. Sorry if it's a bit rambly and long, but the journey continues. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you'll stay with me for the future updates. Yeah, that'll do for this time. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you guys very soon for the next part of this journey. Thanks. Bye.